So we're here today with Bob, Robert Gibbons on YouTube. Bob, I got to ask one question right off the bat. Bob or Robert?
Anything but late for supper.
I understand.
No,
I
usually Bob.
yeah. Do most people call you Bob? Is that the way it works?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, my name's Gerald, and most people call me Jerry, and I hate that name. Uh, so I said, no, my name's Doug. So anyway, we talked about this yesterday. We're gonna. By the way, for the people in YouTube, this is a kind of a repeat of what we did live yesterday because the audio was so bad. Bob couldn't be heard very well, and I wasn't much better. I think Carl was the best, but even he had some noise behind him, and so he's going to sit this one out until we get this straightened out. And I did talk to him right before we went on. I don't know if I told you that, Bob, but he said he would sit this one out. And
Okay.
he's working on his mobile home, I think. He's got something about a lawn tractor or something he was telling me. So he's a busy guy. You know how that works.
Hmm.
So anyway, what we was talking about yesterday, we got started talking, I think, about electronics and how you got started in it, and if you had any formal training. That's things like that. So.
Yeah, I really have no formal training in it. Almost everything that I've done has been self-taught. Um, I grew up on the corner of a farm down in Luzerne County, down south of Wilkes-Barre here. It was actually the house we lived in was my great great grandfather's house, and it was the corner of my grandfather's farm that it was situated on, and my dad was an automobile mechanic, and the one thing he didn't want me to be was an automobile mechanic. Do anything but that. Well,
Right.
he died, and he died when I was 10 years old,
No.
uh, and finished school, went to college or whatever, and but I always when I had started getting my own car, started tinkering on cars. And in between my first and second year of college, I took and got a job at a garage. And when the second year of college came around, I said to myself, I like doing this. Why keep going to college? So I dropped out.
Right. I understand.
And I worked there for 7 years. And then my first marriage didn't work out. When that broke up or whatever, I met my second wife, and her dad owned a farm, and so I took and farmed with him. That was a dairy farm. I did that for 7 years. But anyway, back when I was working at the first garage, one of our customers was a ham radio operator,
Oh, there you go.
and that kind of fascinated me. I was always one. I always liked to know how things worked or whatever, and so he got me interested in that. He gave me my novice license test, and then I upgraded since then. I upgraded all the way to amateur extra. That's the highest amateur license you can get.
Yeah.
That type thing. But just started tinkering, reading books. I've always been good at being able to get the knowledge out of books, and then. But that's only half of it. You got to have the stuff to tinker with too.
That's true.
So back in the '70s, that's Heathkit was still in their heyday or whatever. So
Oh yeah.
there were loads of Heathkits that I assembled, from new.
Hmm.
That's why I like to buy old Heathkits now and just tear them totally apart, and then put them back together again. It's like redoing it.
Yep. Yep. Been there,
And
done that.
but then when I quit dairy farming, I got a job at an auto parts store since I know automobiles so good. Well, I worked there for 7 years, and then worked at the warehouse that owned the store for another 14 years before I had to retire because my back is totally shot. And but just that's basically how I got into electronics, and just always want somebody to tear apart. How does it work?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why does it do this?
Yep. I understand that completely. I was the same way. my family always said, "Well, give it to Doug. He can fix it." Of course,
Hmm.
you start out just like I think you talked about yesterday. You just tear it apart and see what's inside, and then you go on and try to think, well, maybe I can fix it, and then you get it a little bit more involved, and it's basically a logical type question, I think, about how things work. I try to refer back to logic all the time. So,
Right.
uh,
Yeah, it's like growing up or whatever. If there was anything that was broken or whatever, that was a toy.
yeah, yeah,
And at first, like you said, it was just tear it apart.
hmm,
What all's in here.
right,
And then it gets to the point where that gets a little boring after a while.
yeah,
And so you tear it apart more slowly. You start
yeah,
looking. What's okay, it's supposed to do this. Why isn't it doing that
yeah,
anymore?
right, right,
And the mechanical stuff, most of that you could actually fix,
yeah,
one way or the other,
right, right,
but then the electronics that I had back then as a kid or whatever, like something you get an old radio, an old TV set. I didn't really have any books or anything on it then. Didn't understand it,
right.
had no idea, what's wrong.
Hmm. Yep, that's about the size of it. I understand that completely. Like I say, that's quite of a spread there from farming to, as Carl said yesterday, back into ICs and electronics, things like that. That's kind of a long stretch there. So, something
But
something I didn't know about you is you went to college, and I really did not know that.
yeah, one year as a physics major, I was going to get into nuclear physics. Actually,
Well,
I was always good at math and science.
yeah,
So
yeah, that's quite a field.
yeah. But I'll tell you what happened is that it was the field was actually bombing out right about then. The people, the ones who had graduated after my first year, were out looking for job, working at McDonald's and stuff like that.
All right,
And that's what I said to myself. Well, wait a minute, I got a good job here at this garage
right,
and stuff like that. The boss liked me because there wasn't anything that I couldn't do. We started rebuilding automatic transmissions and everything. One
right.
of the customers came in. He said, "Can you fix this?" I said, "I don't know. You got a book on it?" He bought a book. He
Yeah,
bought a book. I fixed the transmission, and we were in the transmission business. Then
right,
so
right. Well, you kind of they kind of go together. So, so you live in Scranton, Pennsylvania. What's it like living in Scranton, Pennsylvania?
Scranton's a nice little town. I mean, one of the biggest problems we have right now is it's become like a university town. I guess you could say we
Right,
have the University of Scranton here. We have Lackawanna College. We have Marywood University, and what they're doing is uh, they're expanding. So if any houses or anything, any land that comes available that borders them, they're buying up. Well, they're nonprofit, so they're non-taxable.
yeah,
So that means that everybody else's taxes is going up,
up, yeah,
to take and pay for the government. You
right.
got less and less taxable land, so everybody else's taxes going up. That's the biggest complaint around here. Plus,
Interesting.
there's no jobs. There's no jobs in the area anymore
Yeah,
for the young
right,
people.
right.
You know.
So basically, I think Carl asked yesterday about your little intro on your videos, how the sign there with the Electric City comes up. Can you tell us a little bit how that happened?
Yeah, Scranton's called the Electric City because Scranton was like I think it was the second city in the United States to have the electric trolley system.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Uh, it wasn't a very big one, but Scranton, mileage wise, Scranton isn't that big of a town,
right.
you know, but it it was in operation. What was it? Operation for the late 1800s to I think close to like 1950. Somewhere in that range. It was, parts of it at least were in operation for quite a few years.
Yeah,
But that's where the whole Electric City came into.
well, that's cool.
Another thing Scranton was real big on is back when the railroads were first starting out. Uh, there was an iron furnace here, and Scranton was a big site for making iron rails and stuff like that. Back in the late 1800s. Before it moved out to like Pittsburgh and stuff like that. So
Right. So that's probably has to do with Steamtown and stuff like that. I know that you can still ride the trolley from Steamtown, and I plan on doing that with you if I ever get out there. So
Yeah,
if this thing ever relaxes a little bit,
they restored part of well, you actually used part of the rail line to take the trolley from the Steamtown Park down to the Lackawanna County Baseball Stadium is basically where it goes to
oh, that's cool.
and stuff like that. It's nice because there's a really long tunnel partway through it
Yeah,
that it makes it a really interesting ride.
yeah. I watched the video on that. That is cool. Yeah, that's neat. What else is going on as far as let's see, you in electronics? You what kind of electronics do you like the most?
All kinds, really. That's one of my problems. I get too many things going on at once. The other thing, I like playing around with computers,
Yeah, yeah,
and I got into computers early. I got back into computers in the late '70s, early '80s with the Radio Shack color computer. I had every model of that. They had the 1, 2, 3, the mini, everything else.
right.
And back then I used to be able to take and do assembly language programming in that.
Yeah, I did too.
And then I took and got into finally got into the IBMs in the mid '80s, and most of my early computers there were they were bare bones that I put together myself, and then pick up a piece here or there to keep upgrading them.
Right,
I was never into gaming, so I didn't have to have the latest and best or whatever.
right,
Uh, but there again, how does it work? Why does it work? Why does it do this? Why doesn't it do what I want it to do?
right. Yeah, you're probably a lot like me. I wanted to be able to tell this machine what to do, and instruct it on how to do it and things like that. I just thought that was fascinating that you could write a little code and make that computer do what you wanted. I thought that was great.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a couple of, I don't know if I told you or not, but I've got a Coco 2 and a 3, I do believe, out in the garage.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't know if I told you that or not. But
no.
yeah, I've got that, and I've got the Commodore 64. I think I've got a couple of those. I know I've got a Commodore 128. And I used to have, and I don't think I still have it, is a Texas Instrument TI 99/4A.
Oh,
Those are the ones I learned on, and I bought those back when I was working. Of course, eBay was fairly reasonable back then. You could find something at a reasonable price, and I had money too, so that's pretty good. Like I say, that's basically the same way I got started, and I understand that completely. So, I did ask you about pets, and you told me yesterday about I believe your ex-wife's pet.
yeah. My ex-wife, she has a dog, a Pomeranian named Egypt, and I go down there. That's where I go on Tuesdays to visit, or whatever. And the dog greets me at the door because I spoil the dog rotten when I'm there. I
Yeah,
usually take food and stuff down.
right.
I'll take breakfast and lunch down for it or whatever, and as long as there's meat involved, the dog loves me.
Well, I think that's pretty much typical of any animal. They like people to feed them. So, and you kind of like to cook too. Is that what I understand?
Oh yeah, yeah. I love cooking and baking. My mom used to take and bake every Saturday was baking day or whatever. I mean, I was raised on homemade bread. It was always bread, cake, pies, cinnamon rolls. The whole 9 yards or whatever. And I used to take and watch her and what little helping I could take and do. And so I like to do that.
Right,
Now
right.
too.
Oh, good. That's good. What are you going to bake me when I come out? All right. We did cover the snow yesterday. Also, as you guys got a couple days ago. I think you said it was all gone now.
Yeah, it's just about all gone. Yeah, just it was some places where like people cleared off their cars and stuff like that. There's still little piles, but it's mostly all gone.
We talked
It's
we talked about how people forget how to drive in that too.
oh yeah, yeah. We went. My friend took me and my ex shopping on Thursday when it was snowing the hardest or whatever, and people are out. Nobody bothered getting snow tires or anything, and they're out there trying to go anyway, and they're not allowing any distance between the cars. They're going bumper to bumper, and then when the car can't go, Nobody can back up either, and it was crazy.
Yeah, it always is the first couple of snows. I don't know what it is. People forget, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's been interesting, Bob. I think we've covered pretty much everything we covered yesterday, unless you can think of something.
No, I think that was just about everything that happened that's going on. I hope to getting back into making some more videos soon. Just
Everybody's
I've
looking
been
forward to
having
that.
yeah, I've been having bad back problems and arthritis problems and stuff
Yeah,
like
I
that. But
understand that. Yeah, yeah.
I
That's
think I got the medication around now where I'm starting to feel better, starting to feel like doing more.
good. Good. Glad to hear that because man, we miss your videos. Um, you're a smart man, and I think you have a bright future in YouTube if you want to get at it and do it. Um, so basically, that's what I'm hoping for. I spoke of the project that you and I are working on here with the 3D printer. Looking forward to doing that with
That
you.
sounds interesting.
Yeah, I think
Sounds
it
like
is. I think it will be very interesting. I like the interaction between us, as far as that. And we did a little bit of a test, back in the shop, and I think it went well. I think you could see what I was working on, and I certainly could see you on the monitor. And we are
yeah, that worked really well on the workbench. I had no trouble at all seeing everything that was going on there.
right. And Zoom allowed us to share screens, and that worked really good. And I'm hoping
Hmm.
that that's how we'll do this, and I'm really looking forward to doing it. I think there are certain bunch of people out there that are looking forward to it. Of course, I'm really looking forward to doing the 3D printer and making things, so that'll be fun.
Hmm.
So, all right. Well, like I say, I think that's pretty much covered everything. So, basically, for anybody that's watching this is just kind of a one-off thing. I'm trying for until Carl can get his computer going. He's talked about like I said, we talked before we started this, and he said he's got two more computers that he can try if he can't get the other one going. The one he uses on the podcast is called Frankenstein. That's what he named it. So that should tell you a little bit about it. Uh, so. Like I say, that's pretty much going to do this one. And like I say, I hope you guys enjoyed actually hearing Bob this time and me. And like I say, we'll hope to get Carl back in order and get our regular podcast going again. I think, I'm not sure if Greg will be the next up, but he may be. And you saw him last night a little bit. And so we're looking forward to getting this thing going a little bit better than it has been going. Hopefully this one will be going. I'm just recording this one. This is not live, obviously. And we're going to put it up on YouTube. So, Bob, I really, really want to thank you for doing this again. I know your time is valuable.
Not a problem.
And like I say, I know people wanted to hear you. I've had several comments on the video yesterday, and people wanted to know what you had to say. Like I say, you're an interesting, smart guy, and we all know Bob. All right, we'll see you guys, everybody. Bob, take care, and we'll see you later.
Take care.